that is seared into the American conscience. But in that horrible moment, there were heroes. Kaitlin Roig-DeBellis is one of them. She is the first grade teacher who saved the lives of 15 students, and Kaitlen is a 2016 Ellis Island Medal recipient from the National Ethnic Coalition of Organizations. We welcome you to the show, Kaitlen. Thank you so much for joining us, and I think all of America wants to thank you for your heroism.
Well, thank you for having me.
You know, coming from the perspective that you come from, these 4 years, I think one of the big questions folks have for you is, what message do you think we ought to be taking from what happened at Sandy Hook that day?
Absolutely. You know, what happened at our school, never in a million years could I have ever imagined that. We were such an idyllic school like Pleasantville. So the fact that it did happen there and to our community, it could happen anywhere. And so we need to be aware, you know, and we need to make schools as safe as they possibly can be for children and teachers.
I imagine in your time you have become closer, because I'm sure you were already close with the parents at that school. Do you think they have a message that they have imparted to you that you now impart to us?
The parents of my students?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I think that we just, every year, my kids and my students are like family. And certainly this year, after 2012, even more so. I'm not sure that they have a message necessarily to impart. You know, everyone's coping process and dealing through the tragedy is so different, so it's very hard to comment on a general moving forward.
Can you take us back to that day and take us into your daily routine and how often that enters your mind? It must be ever present on one level, but at the same time you are continuing to move on bravely.
Yeah, well, it's every second of every minute of every single day, but that's exactly why I have to persevere with purpose in moving forward, because I can, and there's a real awareness of that my kids and I very narrowly survived that day. On December 14th, 2012, we were in the first classroom in the school. You know, the fact that I am sitting here with you today is nothing short of a miracle, and that my kids are as well. And certainly, you know, that weighs very heavily on me. So everything that I do in moving forward is a realization that we are here and that we can do our part to make our world a better place.
A big part of the reason you are being honored is because part of your moving forward has been to establish a nonprofit organization called Classes for Classes. Tell me about Classes for Classes and what you are doing to turn this tragedy into something extraordinarily positive.
Absolutely. Classes for Classes was born after the tragedy. When we were getting, I realized as their teacher that if I didn't step back and take it as a teachable moment to teach my kids that in life when you get, you have to give, that I was doing them a huge disservice. And so that's exactly what my kids and I did. We gave back to a class in Tennessee, and it was this real light bulb moment for me as an educator that my kids, not even a month prior, had experienced the worst evil the world could ever see, and yet here they are feeling joyful and hopeful about giving back and about helping someone else. And that led me to found Classes for Classes, founded on the belief that when we actively engage K-8 students in our country in being kind, compassionate, and empathetic, there isn't room for hate.
And so what your kids now do is in some way work on behalf of kids in other parts of the country, maybe even other parts of the region at times that are disadvantaged.
Sure. We are based in the entire United States. All 50 states are involved in Classes for Classes and can be involved. And so any classroom can sign up and can get involved in connecting with another classroom and understanding, teaching their students that none of us stand alone, that we are all connected, and that even as children they can play a part.
This award you are receiving is an award for heroes. It may be cliche, but what is it like to be a hero?
Yeah, not a word that I have ever or will ever associate with. You know, not at all. I did what any teacher would have done with the responsibility of 15 children in my care. I wanted us to survive.
And even, when you teach your classes today, even out beyond Classes for Classes,
right.
Is what happened 4 years ago a teachable moment every day? Or is it something that you must compartmentalize in order to carry out the primary goal, which is educating kids to be wonderful citizens of this world?
Sure. Well, it's constant. It's always. That's sort of a difficult question to answer. December 14th is constantly here. It's on my mind every second of the day. But for me, that is what I do with Classes for Classes. That's what I do at teaching at the college level. I want to enable people to know that things that happen to them do not have to define them.
Kaitlin Roig-DeBellis, thank you so much for coming here to talk to us about this. It's not surprising that hero is not in your lexicon, but there's not one person out there who wouldn't call you a hero. After this break, news for your health. Don't go away.